I'm Dominic Patton. This is Robert Downey Jr.
And this is Deadline. While we were preparing to do this, and even early on, I started realizing, is the Sympathizer even adaptable? And
Did you think it was the naked lunch of our generation?
Maybe Dune. It was more that without director Park, the vision of how to match all of these different levels on the fader board, I think we'd have been in a lot of trouble.
그리고 소설 읽을 때 When I was reading the novel, I couldn't escape the fact that the prose was so colorful and dazzling. So in a sense, I felt I could imagine fireworks right away. So that actually used that inspiration to translate that into a visual medium. At the end of 101, we see the escape of Saigon and there's a flares exploding and then flames. So that actually originated from the colorful writing prose of Viet.
There's definitely a cinematic inspiration to it. Wrote it with images in my mind. And now I was also thinking of director Park's Old Boy when I was writing it. So it's just a perfect circle for me.
Dude, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Director Park was my first choice, and lo and behold, here he is, as you said, the perfect person with the perfect vision to adapt this very complicated story.
How did you feel that process of adaptation worked?
Ooh. Right from the start, Viet was highly involved in the breakdown of the book. I don't think we ever had the fear of not adhering to the book. As much as we strayed from it, he was always so supportive. So that was never an issue in this particular project.
I really try not to think about it too much. This is my version of the character, and the book always is going to be there.
It's such a different way to consume the story from a book and to watching it on screen because, Viet Nguyen is such an amazing writer that you don't get the experience of reading his sentences when you're watching something on the screen. To counter that, you have someone like Director Park to adapt it in a way that's his own.
When you've got the director of Old Boy, the poetry's on the screen as well.
You can just let him take the wheel,
How does that feel for you in terms of the process of adaptation?
Well, as a writer, I think I have to give up a certain amount of control over this project, and it's a collaborative enterprise. I'm just really lucky that our collaborators are so amazing. And speaking specifically of the American and of Robert Downey Jr. specifically playing these roles.
By the way, the sequel and where it takes place and what happens is it's just bonkers. We'll sidebar with you about it. We'll give you the exclusive.
In The Sympathizer, you play multiple roles. What challenges did that present for you?
To me, it was a great release after doing Oppenheimer that felt so meticulous and kind of constrained on purpose to do something that was meant to be these kind of larger, somewhat broad archetypes within the naturalism of what the rest of the cast was doing. Not that anyone enjoys being, shellacked with glue first thing in the morning before you go to work. But I was not alone in my suffering.
How did you find yourself in that character and in that time? Who is that character to you?
Well, I related to Sophia Mori very easily. She's an extremely liberated woman. I mean, I like to think of myself as one as well. But also with that is you see how she starts delving into the deeper investigation of herself as an Asian American and what that means and how that comes about through her relationship with the captain and primarily actually the love triangle between the captain and Sunny. Sophia Mori represents the Asian American experience, having already been born here and identifying as an American, but also what you see in her pushing her Americanness is the need for assimilation and why she might need to assimilate so much.
All these Vietnam movies that we started seeing from about 1978 to about 1987, they told a very particular type of heroic war epic
how America
that might not have been the war that happened.
Well, I mean, it did happen in America, but there was obviously another side that suffered more and had more losses. The very first thing we did on the fundamental level was say to America, put yourself on the other side. And then once you're there, realize that that side also has another side and there's fractures within that.
And all that's found within the captain himself.
Yeah, exactly.
HBO and A24 and you guys from Team Downey were really meticulous in trying to find the person who could at least portray the complexity of a character that had to wade through so many different themes within the book that Viet wrote. It's, loyalty, friendship, allegiances, betrayal.
Well, Susan, telling people, showing people this story, how do you think that's going to land with audiences in 2024?
I think for us, anything that we're going to get involved with has to have a level of risk. And I think specific to this piece, I would hope that it would provoke conversation. Viet's book is not trying to be super political. It's actually about the humanity. Everybody has a story, and it's a very personal story, and sometimes it's driven by politics or it's driven by being on one side versus the other, but at the end of the day, we're people who are complicated. I hope that that's what people take away from it.